What's going on, everyone? Rescue Jay here, back with episode 7 of the Rescueality Podcast. This episode, personal life. Your personal life while being a rescuer, and I know a lot of my other rescuers are going, personal life, what's that? There's no such thing as personal life. There's dog life, if you're doing dog rescue. So kind of wanted to tell you what the day-to-day is and kind of what personal life is for a dog rescuer, starting with clothing. This shirt and most of my shirts are cheap Walmart shirts. I have nothing expensive. Nicest thing I own is probably my pair of pants that were $20, or my jeans that were like $23. My shoes are $15. There is no crazy amount of money being spent on clothing if you're a rescuer, unless you're not making good financial decisions or you just have a ton of money. Either way, as long as you aren't neglecting the animals. Most of my shirts have at least a hole or 2 or 7 in them. A lot of them are stained. A lot of them are that you just can't get rid of the dog smell, and that's just the reality of being a rescuer, because especially with puppies, you got the puppy claws, you got the puppy bites, the puppy teeth, and they're just gonna rip it up. So clothing, bottom of the priority list, something that works. Next would be about in terms of you kind of enjoying yourself. Again, my rescuers are like, enjoying yourself? What's that mean? Going out, partying, vacation. Vacation for all of you is when you don't have to work. I know you've never heard of that one before. There's no such thing as vacation, especially if you live on the ranch with the dogs. Like my mom does. My mom lives on the ranch. She almost rarely leaves the ranch these days because we're taking care of the dogs. I go down to the ranch when I can, but I work full time and still do the rescue. So my personal life is mostly working and then doing dog rescue stuff, getting donations, try and sleep when I can, but even that's a little crazy sometimes. Definitely not going out. Definitely not splurging on anything. If I'm splurging on anything, it's maybe a decent meal here or there, even though looks like I get enough meals, but that's just because I live on tortillas, beans, and rice for the most part. It's what a lot of rescues, especially here in Mexico, live on, because it's the easiest and it's the cheapest, especially when donations are slow. But that is us. If you are a rescuer that is kind of foster based, where you have, for example, 20 different places where you have a dog at each place, your personal life could just be going from place to place to place to place to place to place, dropping off supplies, checking on the dogs, doing vet visits. We have everything kind of all together, which makes things easier in the aspect of having everything together, but also difficult in the aspect of everything's together. So that's kind of your life right there. Everything's there. I mostly bring the dog food to the ranch. Then my mom feeds the dogs, and it's just kind of figure out what works for you. Everyone deserves to kind of have their time, their me time, their relaxing time. But in this line of work, that really isn't a thing. In the totality, sitting back on a lawn chair, having a glass of wine, for rescuers, that's amazing me time. That's like awesome. But you aren't taking a 3-week long vacation, again, unless you have a ton of money. But if you're taking vacations and doing this and doing that, are you even really rescuing? Or are you kind of just a rescuer? Which I absolutely plan on doing an episode of kind of real rescuers and then people who call themselves rescuers, but it might not be in that world as a lot of us know it. I absolutely want to do an episode on that. It's going to be a little bit of a controversial episode and kind of like a taboo subject, because there's a lot of famous people out there who are rescuers, but they're not really rescuers. And, absolutely not throwing shade. All animals deserve help. So many different ways to help different animals. But when it comes down to a lot of the tried and true rescuers who are in the mud, who are cleaning up after the dogs, who are getting dirty, who don't get that rest, who don't get that sleep, who go a couple days with running on fumes, those are real rescuers, and those are the rescuers that don't have a personal life. Their life revolves around the rescue, around the animals, 24/7, even to the point of, for example, we had, this was quite a few years ago, we had a litter of puppies, my mom and I, who they wouldn't eat, they wouldn't drink, hardly move. They were on the brink of not being here with us. So every hour, on the hour, for 3-4 days straight, I don't remember how long it was. That was a crazy time. But these 5 or 6 pups, we had to give them Vitagel and nutrients and kind of force water down their mouths every hour, on the hour, day, night, while still having to do everything just to keep them alive. And that is something that a lot of people don't have to deal with. And if you have never dealt with that, awesome. It's absolutely crazy to deal with. But if you have done that, whether it be dogs, whether it be cats, whether you're a cow, a horse, whatever animal it might be, you know exactly what it's like when someone's like, "Oh, I'm a rescuer. I pick up my dog's excrement after it goes to the bathroom on the walk. So yeah, I rescued this dog. I rescued this dog from a rescue, and that rescue tends to only have one breed of dogs, and they never rescue. They just always have the dogs there, and seem to always have around the same amount of dogs at around the same time every year, and then you rescue the dog paying thousands of dollars, and oh yeah, I'm a rescuer." It's like, I don't think you are. Again, definitely an episode on that. I have a lot of stories about that from what I've heard, from what I know, and definitely doing an episode of that. And I want to get some people on here who are a part of that, and who that is their income, and I want to get their side of it, because there's always two sides of it. I don't want to be spewing anything without anyone having to be there to either correct me or defend themselves, or whatever. I just like to talk from my experience, from what I know. And then if I've heard it from someone, if I don't know 100%, I try and research it, or I say, hey, this is what I've heard. I want to get down to the bottom of it again, kind of two sides to every story. This is what they said, but this is what they're saying. So what's the actual truth? So I definitely want to do more of that. As for kind of just living and stuff, you kind of have to decide if you want to do this, if you're dedicated to this. A lot of people who say they want to rescue, they're like, "Oh, I want to rescue. I'm a rescuer. I want to rescue." And then I've had some people, they're like, "Oh, rescuing is my dream, absolute dream." And I did I think it was my first or second episode, where I'm like, the ultimate question, I want to start a rescue. What what advice do you give? And I say, don't, or change your dream, or have a couple $100,000. Because I've had so many people be like, "Oh, I want to rescue. You call me up anytime, day or night, I'm there." Call them up, "Hey, you wanna come to an adoption event? I need someone to help clean up the dogs and clean up after them." While I'm talking to people, and they're like, "Ugh, that doesn't sound very fun." But I'm like, that's 80% of rescue right there. That's 80% of adoption events is cleaning up after them. And they're like, "Yeah, I don't really want to do that." I'm like, "Well, then you don't really want to be a rescuer. You like the idea of it, but actually getting down and doing the work, a lot of people don't want to do." So before you actually make that leap and want to start that rescue and get into the rescue life, sit down, kind of plan it out, see what you can do in terms of having that availability. Because if you only have an hour or two available every day, not enough time to do a rescue, even if it's foster based or even if you don't have the dogs there. You are going to need that time, and things can come out of nowhere. Like I said, that one litter of pups that we had to take care of 3-4 days in a row, no sleep. We weren't doing anything instead of taking care of the dogs and still having to do all our normal stuff. But we were there day and night, having to wake up, hour sleep, hour nap to keep these dogs alive. And that doesn't happen often. That's just one instant of the many hundreds, if not thousands, of instances that can happen out there. So wanted to kind of explain that a little bit. And of course, any questions, let me know. I'm just sharing my experience about things, what I know from a lot of other rescues, and definitely want people to get into the rescue world and also understand the rescue world. If you are getting into it, that these are certain aspects of life that you kind of have to account for. So let me know if you're a fellow rescuer. You already know how crazy it can be. But anyone else, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you in the next episode.